Shibuya is a place where trends are always on the move, so today we're going to take a look at what's going on. But first, let's get you up to speed.
The station has been around since 1885, and the famous Shibuya Scramble Crossing was inaugurated in 1973, and gradually it became known as the world's busiest pedestrian crossing, with as many as 3,000 people crossing at any one time.
But of course, being such a well-used station, there came a point where it needed a bit of an upgrade.
One of the major turning points was when the platform for the Tokyu Toyoko line was moved underground, which gave way for major development to the station above. To be honest, this was a much-needed change, because the old and narrow walkways were starting to become very inconvenient and sorely needed an update to their earthquake-proofing. So we've already got some good changes, as two lines have been connected to each other to reduce transfers, and some larger and closer JR platforms have emerged.
But while they continue to work on things, I'm not going to lie, the station is pretty confusing. For example, getting from Scramble Crossing to the Ginza line means instead of going from this main entrance, you need to do a big detour to the other side of the station.
But it's all for the greater good, as everything will be much easier to pass through and seamlessly get to all the different levels in the next few years. All of this is part of a bigger project to redevelop Shibuya on a large scale.
If you've ever been to Shibuya before, you probably wouldn't recognize it now.
Because this is everything that has changed over the past 15 years, and there are still changes to come. One of the first changes was Hikarie in 2012.
There's not too much for tourists here, but if you really don't like the crowds and you don't mind an alternative view, this is a really great, peaceful little place to get some pictures for free. A more interesting one for train fans is Shibuya Stream, which opened in 2018.
While most of the building is dedicated to office and event spaces and a hotel, there are 4 floors of shops and restaurants where you'll find nods to the former Tokyu line.
Replica tracks have been incorporated into the floor, and old elements of the station have been reimagined.
Following these former railway tracks outside takes you to Daikanyama, which is a nice walk partially accompanied by the once-forgotten Shibuya River, the inspiration for Stream's name. A year later, Scramble Square opened, becoming the tallest in Shibuya at 229 meters.
Its height made it perfect for the Shibuya Sky facility and the paid observation deck on the 45th floor and up.
If you want a free look, though, you can head to the 12th floor for views of Scramble Crossing amongst all the fancy modern shops and restaurants. Also in 2019, the completely rebuilt Parco Shibuya opened with some cute outdoor spaces and stairs to its gamer floor filled with Nintendo, Sega, and all sorts. And finishing off the trio of buildings that opened in 2019, which was certainly a busy year, is Fukuras. There are 7 floors here of shops and restaurants, but for travelers, probably the most interesting is the rooftop observation deck and the first floor, which has a tourist information center and a bus terminal operating buses to and from the airports. Then in 2020, we saw the opening of the Eiji Miyashita Park, inspired by the area's vibrant urban culture blending chic shops and cafes with more gritty izakaya and skate shops.
They even preserved the park that used to be here by moving it to the rooftop. And it has my favorite Ghibli shop downstairs too.
And in 2024, Sakura Stage opened, spanning 2 full towers, the Shibuya Tower and the Sakura Tower. And a couple of other smaller but noteworthy mentions for shoppers are that the Starbucks looking out over the crossing was renovated to be less cramped, and Shibuya 109, a youth fashion mall, got an older sister, Magnet, offering manga shops, restaurants, and great views of the crossing. Now we have this bustling hub with its huge skyscrapers known for shopping and nightlife.
So what's going on in 2026 and beyond?
Well, this year we have a pretty major shopping mall opening, as well as a few interesting new individual spots. The biggest Shibuya news of the year is the opening of Shibuya Marui, Japan's first shopping complex to be made mostly out of wood in a bid for sustainability. It will be 11 floors of shopping and food in what will hopefully be a little bit more welcoming than the standard concrete skyscrapers. And on a much smaller scale, here's a little peek into some of the new restaurants that have opened in 2026 that I'm excited about, including the cute handheld pizzas at Shogun Pizza, for example. And finally, let's take a peek into the future of Shibuya. The Shibuya Upper West Project and Bunkamura are due to reach completion by 2030, offering shops, restaurants, and a hotel, as well as cultural facilities like the museum and concert hall. Also by 2030, we'll have an interesting photo spot in the Nichome redevelopment behind Hikarie.
And where we can see all the construction above the station,
the Scramble Square complex will continue to grow, with the opening of the central and western buildings by 2032. Finally, as part of the Scramble Square work, the station will continuously see improvements, especially to the never-ending flow of pedestrians, with new multi-level terraces and walkways set to be usable by 2035. So remember that long detour I had to make earlier to get to the Ginza line? Well, the new walkways will eventually make that trip a lot smoother. Of course, new individual shops and restaurants are popping up all the time, so there's always something new to see in Shibuya. If you're planning a future trip to Japan, check out this video next.